So here it is, the start of qualifying for the third round of the 2023 Summer Series for Formula Velocity, and we're here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Obviously, virtually, that is. We are going to be waiting to see if who comes out first of these cars. Some statistics here. Apex currently has the worst start of his season that he's ever had. And I believe, as I say that is King, the championship leader in the McLaren, who is driving past. So first of all, let me turn on the mini map. That should be all good. And now we can hide some of the UI elements. Actually, no, we want to... There we go. That's what we want to do. As we're gonna go on board with the McLaren. Actually, no, we're gonna just have a little look like this. King is obviously the championship leader here. He's got a fairly comfortable margin at the top of the championship. Obviously, it's still early days in this season, but any points are critical, especially here in Formula Velocity, as there's been a couple more cars that are going to be going out on their out laps. Blah Yappa, the man I believe who is in second place in the championship in the Alfa Romeo, sporting the number 53, is going out of exiting turn 3, I believe that is. Please press Y to hide some of the HUD. Just the bottom right bit. Oh, okay, lovely. Thank you, Scarlett. Let's see. King, I believe, has started his lap here. Let's have a little look. So, exited turn 1. There's a Ferrari behind him. That might have been Psycho's, or I believe that is Psycho's. Going into turn 3 here. It's quite a difficult braking zone and a very difficult traction zone. You got the brow of the hill. Then it's full throttle down into turn 4, I believe this is. Turn on lap time as well. Okay, I will do that after this lap, Dorado. Oh, actually, can I do that now? Lap data. I believe that's that. Now I have to get rid of all this. Okay. There we go. Oh, he's still warming up his tires. Maybe he's gone for 2 out laps, or is he just wiggling a little bit to generate some more tire temperature for the fast 2 corners that are coming up here. Let's see what time King can do here. It's a 106.8. I reckon he can do a little bit better than that, as we're going to see what other cars are there here. D numbers, the previous champion of the regular season in the Mercedes, is coming around the final 2 corners here. The double right-hander, and let's see what he can do in the number 2 Mercedes around the exiting the final corner now. And there is a Red Bull, I believe that might have been Jay Broughton, as yeah, D numbers with a 1:05, nearly into the 1:04s there, as Blayappa 6 tenths down. King, oh, and Jay Broughton, that was, yeah, it was Jay Broughton in the Red Bull there, having that mistake, which is not going to be good for his chances in qualifying. The number 38 Red Bull having some difficulties on the final corner. Asia Aradale, she puts it up to P3, only temporarily though, as OJ English in the Williams is only a 10th down on the man on provisional pole position, D numbers. As we can see, let's see if there's any more cars. WR Tristan is on the medium compound tyre. Pixels is also on his hot lap here, the 29 Aston Martin. Let's ride on board with him. Going through the double left-hander here. He runs a little bit wide there, not quite hitting the apex, but let's see. That corner was a little bit much better, and now it's going to be flat to the floor for this double right-hander coming up. As you can see, apex up to P6 with 106. Let's see, a little bit wide there again, not quite maximizing the track limits. He was certainly pushing it in the final corner though. Let's see what time Pixels can do, and it's going to be enough for P7 with a 106.7, 1/10 up on the championship leader King. And Scarlett has also had a bit of a horrible lap time, it seems, with a 107.9. So I'm not sure if she's either made a mistake or There's, you know, she's just not used ERS or she's just practicing or something. But at the moment, seems it's advantage Mercedes, advantage D numbers currently. We also got Curly coming to finish his lap as well. And he pops it up into P8, slotting ahead of the Aston Martin of Pixels. There's couple of cars are missing. I believe we're missing Sass, and there is a yellow flag in sector 2, but I think that is just because WR Tristan is maybe he's doing another hot lap here, or he's just certainly backing off from a lap. I'll be interesting to see if he goes for 2 runs on the medium tyres, but I think he's going to be going into the pit lane. He just crossed the white line a little bit there, but we can ignore that, as I think there's a couple of other cars coming out here, so we might get the second runs here. As you can see, yeah, D numbers out on his up the man on pole position. Obviously thinks he can still improve his time, and you know, no lap is perfect, so I can imagine the pole position time will be into the 1 minute 4s, especially with track evolution. There's certainly a few more cars, you know. Yeah, there's V&T Rosenqvist. I believe it's only on an outlap at the moment in the pink and blue Alpine car. And I think we have Tristan Dorado in the Red Bull starting his lap, so we're going to go on board. He hits the apex very nicely going into turn 1, as now we're going to be going through really the small kink of turn 2. Then let's see how much of the track he uses going into turn 3. Doesn't really maximize the entry, but he certainly gets the power down quite well, and he's actually gone purple for the first sector. So this is potentially a very nice, neat lap for Dorado here. Let's see, going into turn 4, he brakes pretty late, as there is a yellow flags in sector 3, but that's only temporary, so that's not going to hinder Dorado's progress, as we're going to go now to the fast double left-hander, the number 88 Red Bull. Let's see what he can do. As we're going to go down to the next left. It was a little bit wide there, so he's not going to get onto the power as quickly as potentially he would have hoped. And I believe there's a yellow flag, I believe, at some approaching turn 4, but out the final corner now. Let's see what time Dorado can do. It's looking good so far, but is it going to be for provisional pole? No, it's not. It's going to be for P7, it seems. So he's obviously lost time in other parts of the track compared to his first sectors. There seems to be, there's a Haas car certainly moving slowly. I think D7 is going to be starting his lap here. It doesn't say he's got on an outlap, so maybe he got blocked in his first initial lap. And there's obviously all sorts of people who are out there trying to improve their times. Let's see, Simon Baker, who has not set a time, is exiting the pit lane now. V&T Rosenqvist, they're about to cross the line now. Where do they end up? I believe the lap time was invalidated because it's not come through on the thing. Harrison M is still in the pit lane, it seems. Scarty's also out on track, but let's see what's happening with D numbers now on his lap. So he's going through turn 4. He takes that pretty nicely. Now we got the kink turn 5, going to turn 6 and 7. Let's see how we can do through here. Obviously, the previous champion. Let's see if he can take these corners as well. He's certainly got a couple of podiums and potentially race victories here. So let's see if he can use that experience to claim a pole position around here. He uses that curb pretty nicely. Let's see out the final corner. Can he beat his own previous time? No, he cannot. He was 0.017 seconds down on his previous time, so maybe that's probably a bit of a waste of a run there for D7, as there is a yellow flag in the final corners, and I think that could have been Salmon Baker potentially blocking the championship leader King. So expect that to maybe come up in the stewards room later on in the race, but it did seem the yellow flags came out right in front, as now Salmon Baker lets through King. But that seemed a little bit messy there from the Williams driver. We got Pixels here. Let's see what he's going to do going through this corner here. Turn 4. He's charging the ERS, so I would not imagine that he's going to be up on his time at all here. Curly improves up to 8th position with 105.836. But I think most of the action has gone for the time being. We do have Azzy as she's looking to improve here, but is she on an outlap? I'm not entirely sure. She's certainly got 100% ERS, so I'd imagine this next lap is going to be her penultimate chance to get a good spot for the sprint race. She's currently in P4, so she would be hoping to maybe start the front row, especially for the sprint race, where getting a good run into turn 1 is certainly optimal. She hits the curbs pretty nicely into turn 1. Didn't have any major issues. Blyappa sets a 105.2 and slots himself up into P3 as she's looking. She has a little bit of a twitch at turn 3. Turn 3 is such a difficult traction zone, so I mean, when you have a little twitch, it can go into a very nervous moment. So she's going to look to maybe make up some time for that wheel spin that was clearly there. It doesn't say on the steering wheel if she's up or not on her previous time. She's currently around about 5 temps down, but she spins, unfortunately. That's a bit of a costly error, but you know, she can always go again on a new set of tyres, but that's not great for her confidence heading into the final run, really. I think, yeah, WR Tristan has invalidated lap somehow, so he'll probably be pitting as well. And then we got the majority of the back half of the grid who are in the pits. Sam Baker is still out in his Williams car, but he's also invalidated his lap. Let's see what OJ English can do. Let's see if he can be the first one to go into the 104s, but no, he's also invalidated. So he nearly goes straight into the barrier, so that's a bit scary. Blyap is pitting, and then it's just Azzy who's spun out there and who is on the track. Apart from, I believe there was a Red Bull that was coming out the pit lane. There's also Apex coming out the pit lane, so maybe potentially a couple of cars that are doing 2 runs here for the final lap. You know, we've certainly seen a couple of problems with track limits, especially I believe now it's on strict. People are going to be invalidating their laps more often as they try and push the limits here. But let's who are we going to go on board with? I reckon we're going to go on board with Jay Broughton. He seems to be the closest one to starting the new lap, and I think there's also a McLaren coming out the pit lane, so that might be your championship leader who's going to be doing the strategy of 2 laps. Let's see what Broughton can do. Obviously, he's been a championship contender in the Formula Velocity series before. As we cannot see if he's really nailed that corner, as Azzy, she improves and she is the first one to get into the 104s with 104.989. But will she have enough time for another run? I think she will do, but she's not going to get enough time to do 2 runs in the last set of tyres. So that's a very impressive lap from her. Let's continue with Broughton. He's currently in P9 at the moment. He's going into turn 4. It seems pretty clean into there, using a tiny bit of the exit curb, which can dissettle your car, especially on F1 2022. The 38 Red Bull seems to be a pretty clean lap, and it's actually gone purple in the second sector. So the time's definitely tumbling here, as there's a yellow flag sector 2. I think that might be for Apex, maybe he's having a little bit of difficulties in the house. But coming out the final corner now, not only is Masur being thrown, but potentially it could be for provisional pole. It's not, unfortunately, for Broughton, but it is very close. But really, I'd say the top 6 really within 4 attempts here, from Azzy all the way down to Finnell. But Broughton, it sets the exact same time as English, so Broughton would be a little bit annoyed that they weren't 1 millisecond faster, but that's how F1 can be. It's brutal, as I believe I saw a Haas peel into the pit lane, and I believe that must have been Azzy, as I believe this is Apex starting his lap. The number 66 Haas, if it should be correct, is Pixels gets out of the way very nicely there. Approaching turn 3. Let's see what the guy can do, as Harrison has left the session. If anyone wants to go and fix that, I don't know if that's my responsibility. Apex picks up the DRS, full throttle now into turn 4. You got to spot your braking point round about the 100 meter board, and then you're going to be chucking it into the car for turn 4. It's a little bit, you got a little bit of camber there to help you rotate the car. And then going into this double left is quite, these are very long corners, so it's got to be quite tempting to get onto the power too early and to understeer out. But Apex seems to have done it nicely here, but it did seem a little bit slower than some of the other cars I've seen, so maybe he will struggle breaking into the top 5. But let's see. Let's go around the final corner. Was he take liberty with the track limits? No, he won't. But let's see as he goes up into P7 as I misclick on my controller. And he's now quite close. Oh, as he spins coming out the first corner. So that's not going to be good. So he resets the track there. So I'm not sure if that's quite allowed, but I don't know if that only applies to races, as he might actually be giving Pixels a tow, but Pixels has invalidated his lap. Right. And the fight for pole position, I think English is on his lap. D7 is on his out lap. Azzy is still in the pit lane, so maybe then I don't think she's going to be able to do another lap unless she comes out right now. We got a lot of cars on track, so traffic's definitely going to be an issue. I see a lot of yellow flags here. I'm not really too sure who is doing what, but I believe English is on a push lap. You can see their ERS being I don't know what Dorada's on in the chat, as Pixels does block a little bit with English there. That would not have been ideal for the Williams driver. Apex does get out of the way nicely, but even with these cars getting out of the way, it can be such a distraction. But they still go purple sector 2, so it's still good, seeming to be a good lap time. But that happened last time. They weren't quite on the money. Let's see what they can do. That's a very nice, neat 2 final corners, and let's see down to the main straight, and no, they cannot improve their time. So I reckon English is going to have to settle here for 3rd place. They're not going to make it around the track again. Let's see if D numbers can improve. I think, yeah, he is definitely pushing, and he's got an Alpha Tauri in front of him. That might be Tristan, but he's not getting out of the way of D numbers. So this is going to be a qualifying impediment here for sure. And D numbers runs wide, and that is his lap invalidated, so he is out of contention for pole position. Broughton is also on a final lap. Is he going to make it to the checkered flag? He's invalidated his previous time with 7 seconds to go. He might not. I don't think he's going to make it, you know. He's not going to make it, so that's going to put him out of contention. Blah Yapper is now the next car, the Alfa Romeo driver. Let's see what he can do as he runs really wide, and he's invalidated. So it seems as time passes that it's going to be an Azzy Iredale pole. WR Tristan, the man who is seemed to have blocked D numbers, and I reckon that will go into the steward's room. Let's see what he can do. I don't know if he is a driver for WR. I do assume he is. So it probably means he is pretty quick and probably better than 9th position, really. And let's see what he can do in the Alpha Tauri. In the car number 19, approaching the start and finish straight. Around the final corner now, DRS is open. What can he do? He stays 9th, even though with a purple final sector. So there seems to be a lot of purple sectors here, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of improvement. Whilst Andy does go fastest with another 104 time, but I don't think anyone else is going to be able to challenge her. Scarlett, what's she going to do in the Alpine, as she's going to go around the final corner? She's going to be the last one to set a time, and it is 10th place for her. And we're now just waiting for Pixels to be pushed into the garage. But it is Azzy on pole and D numbers on the front row. I don't know. I need to press a button, don't I? Right. Sprint poles. I think this is it. We have previous sprint poles. So Azzy did get the previous sprint, one of the previous sprint poles here. But I need to go and just make sure I have captured this data all right for Pixels. Let me get rid of this. Is it 1 or 2 on the key? Oh no, I've screwed up here. I know this. Okay, right, let's remove this. That should be fine. I'm sure he can just screen grab it. Right. So, your grid for this 5-lap sprint race, so it's quite a short sprint race, is Azig, D7, OJ English, Jay Broughton, Blyapper, Finnell, Apex, and King that make your top 8 for the sprint race. And those are the point scoring positions for the sprint race. Okay, right. I don't believe there's a formation up here. So it's going to be 5 red lights. And it's away we go here. I don't have any game noise, unfortunately, as it seems that D7 has made a good start going into turn 1. There's a little bit of contact in D7, has spun out. There seems to be a beat. There's a massive crash. Both Haas cars round. It is OJ English that is in the lead of the race, ahead of Blyapper in the Alfa Romeo. Scarlatti from 10th position on the grid has already made it up to 3rd. Broughton making contact there with Scarla, and Tristan benefiting from that, going up to 4th. This has been an absolutely chaotic start. VNT Rosenquist, they are up to 9th position, but that's been a shocking start for the 2 people in the front row here. So they make contact as VNT Rosenquist battling the championship leader King. They've lost out, it seems, as well in the start. Potentially, but it is OJ English who leads with an 8/10th gap in the 94 Williams, and he's trying to be getting out the DRS of Blyapper, who's defending into the penultimate corner there from Scarlatti. You can't really see moves happening there that often. And so I'm quite surprised with the defense so early. But the fastest lap of the race, 1:10.8, is OJ English in the Williams. Then it is Blyapper, Scarlatti, WR Tristan. And that is, I believe, Psycho's running without a front wing in 6th. So maybe that his strategy is thinking it's only 5 laps. I can make the whole sprint without a front wing. Let's see if he can salvage any points or a good grid spot. As I believe JL Broughton is challenging Tristan here for P4 this would be, as they run really tight, and I believe that is a little bit of wing damage there on Tristan's car. I'm not sure how he's suffered from that end plate damage. There's a little bit more contact here, but I think Broughton's done the move, and that is up into 4th place. Is Blyapper again defending from Scarlatti, so she's looking very racy here at the moment. But let's see what happened, as he has actually picked up a penalty somehow, so I'm not sure how entirely she spun out. It is very unfortunate for the pole sitter here, and as we also have D numbers here as well, one of the main protagonists and the championship winner of the previous couple of seasons here in FX is having an absolute shocker of a race, as well as Apex here, who was the 2nd Haas car to believe to be spun out, as we have English leading lap 3 here. It's around about half race distance already in the race. It is insane to say, really. I believe Blyapper is not going to be able to benefit now from DRS here. 1.6 seconds back. And this is going to allow Scarlatti to get past, as she is much better on the traction, it seems, than Blyapper. But is Blyapper going to fight this back? No, he is not. And he's on the medium compounded tyres, which is very surprising, as Scarlatti looking feisty on the softer compounded tyres. And also, she could maybe press on to catch OJ English, because we got to remember that they're on the medium tyres, while she's on the soft tyres. So maybe we could see a battle for the lead here brewing. Broughton has definitely pulled away from Tristan, and I'm very surprised the Ferrari of Psychos is still in P6 still without a front wing. So he's obviously doing an incredible job here. He's got Sam Baker right up close behind him. I'd be surprised if he can keep the Williams car behind for so long, and maybe potentially cars such as Azzy and Finnell, but I reckon they could maybe get into the top 10. Oh, and Sam Baker does spin out. I think there's contact there with the Ferrari, and you can see there's an all sort of kerfuffle of cars. And also King, it seems to have lost out a couple of places, and D7 has gained maybe a couple of places here, as that is Rosenquist, who has gone way too deep into turn 3, and that has allowed D7 to climb even more positions on the medium tyre. Let's see. Oh, Dorado's pitting for a new front wing at the back the field. We're going to be starting the final lap very, very shortly. Let's see if there's going to be any battles. Broughton has got past Blah for third position, a place on the sprint podium this will be. Let's see if he can maybe challenge Scarlatti. There's a 2-second time penalty for Pixels, but we head on to the final lap of this race now. And it is OJ English who is leading the race in the Williams. This is going to be the battle we're going to be looking at, or potentially the battle for second place with Broughton and Scarlatti 42. I think this is going to be the main battle here. Scarlett's tyres may have run out a little bit, and Broughton is going to go down the inside of the Alpine. Is he going to make this work? He's going to keep it within track limits, but can Scarlatti on the exit and make it work with the DRS open and using all the battery? But they've run out of battery, so I reckon Broughton's done it. He's certainly recovered from around about P5 going up to P2, so that's been a great race for the Red Bull driver. But there's been a lot of chaos this race, but one person who has not been in chaos is the Williams of OJ English, who seems to very likely to pick up the sprint wing here and pick up 8 crucial points in the championship. And this is going to be a well-deserved victory for the Williams driver. Kept it clean on lap 1, controlled the race from then on. It's OJ English who wins the sprint race here in Austria. Broughton comes home for second place, just ahead of Scarlatti. Blah secures fourth place. As he, with that spin into the first corner, does drop down to 6th place with a time penalty. D7 makes it into the points, and I believe Tristan gets the last points playing position as Psychos, without a front wing the whole race, makes it up to P9. But what was that opening lap? That was absolute madness, what I saw there. Do I need to now do these things? Right. I guess it's now a good time for me to share the app code. Actually, no, it's not, because I need to show you the podium celebrations. But it is OJ English, who is very happy on the podium in the Williams, as he shares the podium with Scarlett in 3rd place and Broughton in 2nd place. As Just Unku says, good evening. You missed out on a spectacular lap 1. Seemed a bit like Australia 2023. And what did I say before the race? How it's going to be carnage. I might have moved my mic closer, so sorry if that's all inaudible. Let's have a look at the final results then. OJ English wins the sprint race here in Austria with fastest lap. Jay Broughton comes home in 2nd, Scarlatti 3rd, Blah secures 4th place ahead of Finnell, and Azzy Iredale, who finishes down in 6th place with a 2-second penalty from pole position. D Numbers recovers from a spin on the opening lap to 7th place ahead of Tristan, Psycho's King, the championship leader, Rosenqvist, Harrison, Curly, Salmon Baker, Apex, Pixels, and I believe your only retirement of the race was El Dorado. So that was your sprint race, and now time for the main race. Now, is it? Let me have a little look for the app code. If you would like to know the app code for the, I think it's some sort of app you can use to look at the results and vote your driver. Right, it's lights out and away we go for the formation lap this time. Let me post the standings just to familiarize yourselves. Obviously, these are not sprint race updated, but it will give you a little bit of an idea into who is doing well this season. Obviously, Broughton gaining 7 points with his impressive sprint drive, but OJ English is the main candidate in, I guess. I'm jumbling my words here. I'm sorry. He did well in the best. He was the best driver in the first race, pretty much. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me try and find. So I'm pressing random buttons here. Right. Hopefully that's got rid of something. There we go. Previous wins in Spielberg in the summer series. Or season 5, we had SOG and Impulse, and in last year's summer series it was Broughton who won. But I think we should go over the grid now, really. So let me get rid of this. Oh, I forgot to put my formation lap thing. Right, Right, there we go. We can have it on towards the end of the formation lap. So we have OJ English starting from pole position on the medium tyres, ahead of JL Broughton, ahead of Scarlety 42. All of these cars are on the medium tyres. Blyather with the 53, sporting the number 53 in fourth. Then we have Finnell in fifth in the Ferrari. Azzy, she was starting on the pole position for the sprint race here, but it got spun around. And alongside this man, D7, and that is an AlphaTauri spinning, and I think that is Tristan who will be starting 8th. Then in 9th was the hero of the first race, not using a front wing for the whole race, Psychos. Then we have King, Rosenquist, Harrison, Curly, Sunbaker, Apex, Pixels, Dorado. As I believe that is Tristan line up in their grid spot, and then it will be 5 red lights out. One light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go. OJ English gets a good start in the Williams. Scarlety as well gets an amazing start. Let's see if she can lead into turn 1 as she does. Everyone's a lot more cautious into turn 1 this time, as Broughton's going to try and get back into second place by overtaking OJ English. So not a good start from pole position. Broughton's now going to go down the inside of Scarlety for the race lead here, but Scarlety's going to do the old switcheroo potentially, as we're going to go head into turn 4. It seems to be quite clean, as I did see a Haas there. I think that could have been Apex on the grass there, but Scarlety couldn't quite make that work. So it is now Broughton, Scarlety, OJ English. Azzy has made up a place, I believe she has, on the opening lap. Finnell in 5th, D7 up into 6th place, and King as well has made up 3 positions. Blyapper has been a massive loser in the first lap, going from, I believe it was a 4th place to 8th place. VNT Rosenquist, they are now 9th place, and WR Tristan now right behind him in the AlphaTauri. Apex up into 11th on the soft tyres, so he could be making some good progress here on the start, as we have the rest of the grid filtering back through, as El Dorado there in 17th and dead last there, with his teammate leading the race, Broughton. Let's see if there's going to be any carnage here. It seems like everyone's just trying to work together, maybe try and pull away from the pack, as I believe there's a little bit of fighting towards the lower end of the field here. There's quite a big gap between VNT Rosenquist and Blyapper, so there's seeming to be 2 trains that are forming, and it seems to be that Apex is going to be going for a move on Curly, and Curly is going around the outside into turn 4. Can Apex make this work? He's got the tyre advantage, but it seems that actually it's Tristan who's got the inside line, but Apex is going to make this, I believe he could make it work into here, as Harrison has left the session, but actually, and that is Curly who has spun, potentially in sympathy of watching that battle out in front of him, as that is Psychos, I believe, who's starting the hard tyres. So that's an interesting tyre choice at the start of this race, as now he got really the top 8 that are in one massive great big train, so it's going to be very difficult to overtake in this train, as we do know. DRS trains do exist in Formula 1, but it seems that Azzy is very close to the back of OJ English. Obviously, the person who was in pole for the sprint race is very back on the person who really won. Well, they did win in the sprint race, but certainly had the most impressive drive, I'd say, in the sprint race. But let's see, can Azzy do anything to rectify the mistake that we saw in lap 1? She's going to try and go around the outside of turn 4. You can't really do around it there, Sunshine, but she's going to have a little look using a bit of the battery, and she's going to go down the inside here of turn 5. And OJ English was going to have a little look, was pushed onto the curb there, but that was a position gain for Azzy, and she's definitely looking for another position there, really. I'm losing my words, really. I mean, I've commentated for ages. I do apologize, as Apex has lost a bit of time, but I believe that is your championship leader, King, ran a bit wide there, and that's going to allow Finnell to be right close back to him. And I believe that's D7 as well, making a move on English there. So English is dropping quite quickly off. So maybe the pace they had found of the sprint race is not quite reciprocating here for the main race. And unfortunately, it's the main race that gives out the biggest points for them, as D Numbers, he's going to have to try and be pushing to get back into the DRS here, as it's 1.2 seconds back from Azzy, and this could be critical for his race. Blyappa as well at the end of the train is starting to lose touch a little bit with the rest of the pack. Whilst really there's sort of you got the two trains really. You got the leading train and you got the secondary train, but this is going to be the most interesting thing. Can D Numbers get back into the DRS of Azzy? This will be critical really for the remainder of the race, because if he can sort of close up this train, but if not, we might have a top three, and then we might have a sort of a position squabble for 4th to 8th really, and he cannot get into the DRS, so this is going to play into the advantage of OJ English. And I believe that's D7 already below 10% battery, so he is completely using up all of his battery really to try and make all these passes in the opening lap. And I think that is Azzy going for another move there. She is overtaking Scarlett there for 2nd position, so she is looking like she's got some very impressive pace in the Haas car. And Broughton is now going to be trying to push for his life to try and get away from Azzy, but it does seem it's almost inevitable that them two are going to battle at some point. But these two have got these three cars have got a nice lead over the Mercedes of D Numbers, so it could be potentially a bit smarter just to try and pull away from the rest of the train, try and not squabble with each other, and try and pull away to minimize any chance if you have a mistake you lose too many positions. But I'm sure that Broughton's still going to want to defend this against Azzy, as there is a penalty for VNT Rosenqvist, who has, after making a pretty solid start, they definitely dropped down a couple of positions here, as Apex is now going to be approaching the DRS of Rosenqvist, as we have quite a few cars in this secondary train really. Let's see, Azzy 3 tenths behind Broughton, so it looks like, can they get a good exit? Let's see. I'm not sure it's going to be done into turn 4 this lap. It seems like it's going to be a very late move if it would be, but I think Azzy's just going to sit back, try and maybe save a bit of fuel, save a bit of VRS, and then going to make the move on Broughton. Let's have a little look back. Your closest battle is really for position 13 here, as Apex, maybe the soft tires are going off really quickly, because he is struggling against that is Psycho's on the hard tires, as Psycho's going to go down the inside here, and that's going to invite Pixels. Can he go around the outside here of Psycho's? No, he cannot. That would have been an amazing move there for the Aston Martin driver, but as I see here, 2 tenths is the gap between Azzy and Broughton, as Azzy's going to fake to the inside there, try and put off Broughton with their exit. He covers up nicely, but I think it's quite inevitable. Azzy, with DRS and the battery deployed, is going to look to overtake Broughton here. Broughton goes defensive here into turn 3. Azzy, though, trying to get a bit of a switchback, getting that greater traction coming out of turn 3. Can she find a way past Broughton? I'm not sure it's going to be able to be done this lap, but that was certainly a lot closer than the last lap, and I would not be surprised if there's a position change soon, as Scarlett as well is now dropping out of this DRS train. So it looks like it's going to be it's starting to become more and more like a 2-horse race here at the front, as you still have D Numbers still trying to chase within that DRS train point, and you got English behind and Finnell behind, as that is D Numbers obviously pushing hard to try and catch within the DRS, and it's got a 3-second penalty. I believe that must have been exceeding track limits, as we've already seen quite a few cars with penalties such as Rosenqvist and Apex here. But let's go on to the next lap, as Broughton again is he's gone not a great exit out there. And can Azzy now, can she finally overtake Broughton? She's got certainly less ERS, so maybe she's not quite saving as much as I thought she would. I would have just maybe these two drivers have been pushing much harder than I thought, but it's not going to matter because Azzy with the DRS, she's got her ERS on. Can she go down the inside? No, she can't. Or she definitely had a little look there into turn 4. But again, in lap 8, she can't do it. But Broughton spins, and that looks like one of the end plates is gone for the Red Bull. That is absolute heartbreak there for the race leader, struggling with the tire temperatures and to try and even spin around the car. But that is absolute heartbreak there for Broughton. As he now leads from Scarlett, D Numbers is promoted into the podium positions, but remember there is a 2-second penalty there with D Numbers, but that's going to really help Azzy protect her. Well, now she's got the lead, and now she can just think about trying to pull ahead of the rest of the cars. The Haas team have never won 2 races in a main series before, so let's see if they can do that in I believe this is the 2023 summer series. Let's see. D Numbers on the back of Scarlett. I can't actually see how much ERS. He's got 0 ERS, but that's not going to matter as going down the inside here of Scarlett. But Scarlett is going to go for the old switcheroo. That is an awful camera game, as she is now going to get the DRS and D Numbers can literally do nothing. And Scarlett goes past the 2nd place, but all this fighting is helping Azzy. She's now pulled out a gap of 1.7 seconds. She's gained half second this lap. As Finnell has, I think they must have been battling Finnell and OJ English, as Finnell, it seems like getting past OJ English, and you got King as well now joining the train. He was obviously in the secondary train at the start. Oh, and I believe that's who was that? The AlphaTauri. I think that's Curly, who's a lap down. It looked like they almost made a mistake here, but D Numbers is going to try and go for a second attack on Scarlett. The first one didn't work. Let's see, can the second attack work? Not into turn 1, it doesn't seem. Turn 1's not a great overtaking spot though, but he doesn't get the greatest of exits here. But I reckon he's going to try and do the same thing again. He's going to go down the inside here at turn 3. But is Scarlett going to be wise to it again? She was very wise the first time. She's going to try and do the exact same thing again. Does she get good traction? She gets great traction, and she's got so much more ERS than D7, and she does the exact same thing as the lap before. So great racecraft here from Scarlett, and that's helping her keep the position. But because you can see, the win is certainly maybe becoming less and less out of the question for these two. I mean, it seems like D7's got some sort of good pace, but he doesn't have the battery to make the overtake work on Scarlett, really. And Scarlett's defending lovely as Finn was dropped out the DRS now. And I reckon the closest battles in the track are for 2nd place and for 4th place. Not really sure which one's going to happen before. And they also got Psychos as well on the back of Eldorado, with a lot of cars at the rear end of the field having penalties, it seems, that they're going to have to serve. Let's see what's going to happen. So we've had 2 times that D7's failed to get past Scarlett. Is it going to be 3rd time lucky for the Mercedes driver? Let's see. He's got the DRS open. He's certainly going to try, but is he going to do the exact same thing again? Let's see. He's hanging back this time, so is he going to try and change up his tactics? He's certainly got into the power quite early there, but Scarlett, what a insane exit there, and it's actually now Finnell who's going to be looking down the inside of D7. Had a little look but couldn't quite make anything work, but now that it's more the Ferrari driver that's pressuring the Mercedes rather than the Mercedes pressuring the Alpine, as Apex gets another penalty. So it's obviously been a miserable race for him and the other Haas car with his teammate Azzy leading. So I have a little sip of water, but there's no breaks in this tight battle here for really 2nd place. You've got, what is this, 4 cars trying to battle for the same spot on the podium, 4 different teams, 3 different engines, as I believe D7 is going to try and go past Scarlett on the 1st corner. That's a weird place to make a move, as they do go side by side here, but that's going to leave D Numbers potentially vulnerable to the Ferrari of Finnell, especially with low ERS. Is D7's going to go down no, he is going to go down the inside, but he does compromise his line quite significantly. Can Finn will get past. Finn has got the battery open as there's contact between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Close racing here as Fennell has now got past the Mercedes. Oh, wow. That was very late braking from D7, who's actually going to manage to hold this around the outside of turn 4. That's incredibly impressive there from the Mercedes driver. He's going to go down the inside, but all this fighting is leaving Azzy with a massive gap in the lead of the race, as we are already a third through the race already. Sorry. Finn, though, is really close to D numbers here, and you've obviously got OJ English as well, but heartbreak again. Finnell has spun it, and I think he's lost his front wing, and I believe OJ English as well, and might have some damage here. So that's really unfortunate. Yeah, they got front end plate damage, but more importantly, they've lost a lot of time. So this is going to help D7 with the battle for what will be second place here. He doesn't have to think about other cars as much now. So he's going to go down the inside of Scarlett here, or Scarlett, I guess, as he seems to make the move there, but Scarlett again with the superior, I guess, ERS battery, and she makes it work. But again, he's incredible on the brakes there, D numbers. He's got to try and go around the outside, but Scarlett with the more battery, because she can use the power, and with the Renault engine, she still is in front of the Mercedes. Whilst Azzy is nearly building up almost a 5-second advantage here. But remember, we've seen the race leader spin, we've seen the Ferrari Fennell spin. It's not out of the question a mistake here in the Red Bull ring. Why am I stuttering my words so much? Right, Eldorado, another penalty for him. We also see King and OJ English pitting, but let's see D7 going down the inside here into turn 1. Scarlett gonna try and go back for the switchback, but it's actually D7 this time who has got the DRS, as Harrison has joined the session, but we don't care about that. Pixels of free time penalty. D7's he's gone a little bit deep into turn 3. This is going to allow Scarlett to pretty much just drive past once again. We've seen a lot of this in this race, but she doesn't seem to have as much as the overlap as the last time, and it seems like D7 has gotten a good exit coming out of turn 4, and it seems like he has made the position up on Scarlett, but for how long can he realistically keep this? I believe a couple of cars were pitting, such as OJ English and maybe King as well. So that's something definitely to note. Oh, and Azzy is also pitting. So let's see. Oh, and Scarlett missed the white lines there. So she was going a bit faster. So I don't know if that's a penalty here or what. But D7 is going to be leading the race. Azzy, she's going to make her stop. Let's see, is it a good stop from the Haskell? She's going to be going out on the hard compound tyres. Let's see if there's going to be any traffic. It seems like there's going to be a slight amount of traffic, potentially the Alfa Romeo Blayapa, and Blayapa does get past, but that seems like it's going to be reasonably the only real traffic, and they're probably going to pit soon anyway. Then we got VNT Rosenquist ahead of Scarlett. Where is... OJ English has lost out quite a lot in this, especially Finnell as well, you know, spinning out. But they're still massively ahead of Broughton, who made a catastrophic error and spent a lot of time trying to rejoin the track. Your closest battle really here is between Azzy and Blayapa, but remember, Blayapa does have a penalty, and so does your race leader, D7, at the moment. As it seems that OJ English is getting really close to Psychos, and D7 does pit. So does Tristan. And does Blayapa pit? No. Yes, he does. So Azzy now will retake the lead of the race. And now will be quite easy to find out where all the cars sort of filter out. VNT Rosenquist, they're going to be up into a P2. But remember, they have not stopped yet. So this is not a net P2. You got D7, who I reckon he's come out behind Scarlett. So all that effort trying to make the overtake work, and he's going to have colder tyres than the Alpine car, but he's still going to send it into turn 3, as that is King right behind them. As Scarlett gets past for third place. Remember, this is net second with all the pit stops applied. As D7, is he going to go down the inside? He certainly looked for it. But all this time, King is now caught up. OJ English obviously got very unlucky with that contact with Finnell, but they've replaced their wing and they're only 1.8 seconds behind, so don't count them out of a podium finish. You got Psychos there. What was that weaving? That was really interesting. You got WR Tristan behind Psycho. Harrison, Finnell. Harrison, I believe, is disconnected, so it's quite difficult to judge what these lower position points are, really. But you still got Pixels down here. Curly is currently last, but I'm not sure they have stayed connected, as it seems that, again, this is going to be the main battle of the race, D7 and Scarlet. As someone who's cheering for Azzy, it seems, in the chat, as D7 makes a move into turn 2. But I think this is going to be a common trend as we're heading into turn 4. And once again, Scarlet is going to go down the inside here. How many times have I seen this move already? I think, I don't know. I've seen this so many times. And I think D7 needs to maybe sit back and consolidate, trying to save a bit more EOS, because this strategy is not working for the multiple champion, really. And they're losing time to people like King and English. Well, Azzy is, she is got a 6-second lead ahead of Scarlet, so she seems very comfortable. But remember, the race can change at any moment, and Finnell has spun. That could have been a little bit worse. They seem to have rejoined the track safely, so that's all good. But we are away racing again. But Finnell spins it again on those hot tires. It can be so difficult in this game to try and control your tire temperatures. And is Finnell going to go into the pits? Finnell is going to be pitting, but that's not great. They've spun twice in the space of one lap, and they've spun a couple of laps before, so this has been a race to forget for Finnell, and they have retired from the race in the pit lane. Blah Yappa has also apparently left the session, so that's unlucky there for the Alfa Romeo driver. As actually D7, they have got past Scarlet, but Scarlet again going to use the ERS here. She's definitely depleting more of her ERS, trying to protect this position on D7. There was a little bit of contact there, it seemed, as he's going to go down the inside. And D7 makes up the position, but you know, sometimes it's not about making up the position, it's about defending the position. And we got to remember, D7's currently got 3 seconds worth of penalties, so they could be dropped all the way up down to P5. So he really needs to get a push on here, as Psychos has got a penalty. So many people have got a penalty this race. And we have one retiree, which is Finnell so far. We got a couple of people off the pace already. Broughton sticks out to mind. Curly, Broughton obviously leading the early stage of this race, and spun it when they were put under pressure with Azzy right behind him. But this battle seems to have been raging quite a while, but I'm not sure Scarlet is quite as close here to make a move. But I reckon King's gonna make his way back up. And what did I say about OJ English? They are now in the DRS range of King, so don't count them out. And I believe that is Jay Broughton, who has crashed, potentially going into this part. And I believe this must be a safety car, because it's got yellow flag sector 1, 2 and 3, and there is a safety car, and that is the stricken Red Bull of Jay Broughton without a tire on it. So that must have been a massive crash here, as that is Azzy who is pitting. Scarlet is pitting. D7 stays out. That's an interesting call from the Mercedes driver. So does King. Most of the field, I would imagine, would be pitting, probably going back out onto medium tires. I'd say would be the best strategy. Obviously, we had to reset the race, so these would be new mediums they can come out on, and they can quite comfortably make their end of the race. Blah Yappa, the AI, doesn't seem to be pitting. That's unfortunate. Apex will be pitting. So many cars are going into the pit stops. Eldorado is also sticking out. But now your race leader is D7 ahead of King. OJ English in third. Then we have Azzy on in fourth position. And yeah, Finnell bottled it. unlucky, mate. It was seeming to be quite a good drive up until you sort of made that mistake, really. But it could have been anyone on that podium, really. Jay Broughton has left the session, so they've also, yeah, they've, you know, they were the one who crashed, so that makes sense. Let's sort of, we're just waiting for the safety car to go out now. And for me to recover my voice, you know, I'm a last, you know, I don't really do commentary most of the time. I am used to just race. I used to just race, and so my voice is it's hurting quite a bit now. So I do apologize me sometimes stuttering my words or taking water breaks, because God, my throat is on fire. As I believe everyone should catch the safety car hopefully at the end of this lap, so but hopefully coming in with at the end of this lap or maybe 2 laps time, so that'll be good for the race. Then we got around about 15 laps of green flag racing. Obviously the mediums are it should last that long, but they certainly will deteriorate at the end, so maybe that's what the thinking there of the likes of D7 were, to maybe stick on the tyre that he's got now and to maybe benefit at the end of the race, and also more importantly to keep track position ahead of the, you know, if he feels like he was faster than cars like Scarlett, maybe this was the right call for him. But we were really waiting for some of the backmarker cars. We got V&T, Rosenquist, Pixels, and I think Curly's actually got to the back of the queue, but obviously they are a lap down, so I'm not really entirely sure how this is going to affect things. But I do believe this is interesting. So Curly is in between Azzy and OJ English. Now I think this would, oh, safety car is also in this lap. Okay, so this is not going to be good for my voice, but it's going to be more exciting for the race. But Curly, I think they're going to be ghosted, but this could make it a little bit more difficult for Azzy, as D7 is warming up his tyres very aggressively there in the Mercedes, as he's going to try and make some ground on King and OJ English, but certainly he's going to try and make ground on the cars that have pit. It's D7. It leads us into turn 1 here, as it seems to be all pretty clean. I think Curly is getting out of the way of all the other cars. So D7 leads the safety car restart ahead of King. There is a yellow flag. I believe that's only for Curly though, so nothing to really worry about. Let's see, as Scarlett has already lost the place to, I believe that must be Salmon Baker, who's going to go down the inside, or Scarlett has certainly gained a place on someone. I think someone, WR Tristan's gone through Bly Yepper there, and he's certainly making a move on maybe potentially Salmon Baker here. Can Tristan and the AlphaTauri go around the outside of turn 4? It's going to be an audacious move, but is he going to get the switch back? It will be in a good move here as V&T Rosenquist gets a penalty, but WR Tristan going down the inside here at turn 6. That's a lovely move there from the AlphaTauri driver, putting those new mediums to good use there, as Azzy is now 2 tenths behind OJ English, who's going wheel to wheel with King, and this is a weird spot to go around the outside of. Let's see how brave this is going to be. They make contact, the cars, and this is going to really help Azzy. I'm going to go on board with the Haas driver, as she is now going. Is she going to look going down the inside of turn 1? Yes, she is. There's contact there. That was a little bit of an audacious move, and that's going to really help Scarlett. The Scarlett is going to be boxed in by Azzy, and this is exciting stuff. King might be trying to go around the outside here of Azzy. Well, there's a little bit of contact there, and Azzy. Oh, that's more contact there. That's really holding them up. And Scarlett again is going to get boxed in, but she's going to maybe try and send it down the inside here of Azzy. Is she? No, she is not. But Azzy has now made her way from around about 5th to 3rd, and Scarlett has made up a couple of positions also in the safety car restart, and certainly King has definitely lost out, and he's now got Tristan on the new mediums behind him as well. But D7 got a 3-second advantage, so, but remember he's got a penalty, and I believe now OJ English as well. I think he might have just gotten that penalty, so that was very unfortunate there for the Williams driver. So in reality, I'd say your net race leader is D7 now, but it could change very quickly, as you've got Azzy here. She is going to be looking to get up to 2nd place. and then close down and pass the Mercedes at D7. But one at a time, she's going to use her battery. She's going to use the DRS, and OJ English doesn't really fight it. Obviously, Azzy was the woman on pole here, and she is looking to get past, and I think OJ English is, you know, playing this a bit smart, thinking, oh, I'm going to try and consolidate maybe for a podium or high points position here, as they seem to be defending going to turn 4 against Scarlett. But it seems pretty smart there, as that is Tristan making contact with King, and I think there was a reset to track, so that's not allowed. He's going to get penalised for that, as Apex is up to 6th. How have I not noticed this? This is really good for the 2 Haas drivers. Apex making the stop during the pit stops, or during the safety car, sorry, and he's made up a lot of positions so far. No, it's just completely gone under the radar with all this battling really for the podium spots, as Scarlett is going to want to get past OJ English here, as he sets the fastest lap of the race. There's so many penalties here, as Azzy will now, she's in the net position to win the race. She's within 3 seconds of D7, who does have a 3-second time penalty. As Scarlett, she's probably going to try and do her move going into turn 4. OJ English does not have the DRS here, and Scarlett has got the battery deployed, but I'm not sure she's going to make the move here. She is going to make the move here. That's a great move there from the 42 car, and she's now going to try and chase down Azzy for P2, and they'll both probably try and work together, at least in some context, to try and chase up to the race leader D7, who didn't pit under the safety car. So he's got hard compound tires, older hard compound tires, the other two, so he will be likely to be much slower than the other two. But let's see the major battles. I reckon it's WR Tristan right on the back of Eldorado in the Red Bull there. Obviously, this has not been a good race for Red Bull. We had Broughton crashing out and spinning out when he was in the lead, which was unfortunate. And Dorado has not really had the best time here in the Red Bull ring either, as Tristan, is he going to try and get a good exit here? It was a little bit slidey there, coming out the exit of turn 1. Let's see what happens here. So, oh, and that's a lovely little fake move there. Can he go down the inside? There's a lot of contact there, and I think that was Tristan's fault there. He seems to outbrake himself, and there we go. Pixels. He makes up a position. That's a lovely move there for Pixels. I'm going to have to put this up on the screen as what on earth have I seen there? Dorado is lagged back, and now Pixels is up into 10th place. That is a lovely move from the Aston Martin driver there. I think Dorado, yeah, he's going to lose a couple more places now, so that is unfortunate for him. I reckon the closest battle on track is actually Apex, right on the back of King, so he's doing really well here. But let me, I think I need to go and get some penalty data up now. We want to get detail. Penalties. So Apex does have, he's got 6 seconds of penalties. So remember, even with this position gain, he's still got 3 seconds more penalties than King, but he's going to try and go around the outside here of turn 3. That's an audacious move. He's going to try. I was going to think he was going to try and go. Oh, he's being pushed out there, it seems. I was about to say he's going to try and go for the switchback, but actually he's going to lose out the position to Salmon Baker. So that's not good there for the Haas driver, as he now he might get switchback here, you know. There's certainly opportunities, but I don't think it is more the other two cars that are squabbling on the 2 hard tyres, as that is Salmon Baker who has spun right in front of him, and that has put off Apex, who has now lost even more time and a couple of positions, as I believe Blyapper is now racing. They were AI for a bit. Let's have a little look. I believe you got OJ English still sticking with Scarlett. Obviously, OJ English does have the penalty and that's critical for the race. D7 has got another time penalty, so that's going to demote him even further down. So it seems like the race win is out of question here. However, D numbers, even though he's leading currently, he might even struggle to finish onto the podium here. But remember, he's still got cars like OJ English with a penalty, but it seems like at the moment the podium order is going to be Azzy and then Scarlett, making it an all-female 1-2 here. I mean, the closest battle on track is really this. Obviously, we saw OG English have a little look down the inside of Scarlet, but we don't have too many more laps here, really. Obviously, this race is quite a short one. We got the very short lap time. Obviously, it was a 104.9 that was pole position, but obviously they would be doing around about, I would reckon it would be around about 108 around here for race pace. Potentially a little bit quicker than that, especially with the new mediums. But I'm not an expert on F1 22. F1 2021 was my game, so we'll see. But enough about me. This is about OJ English. Can he get onto the podium? Tristan's made a move on Apex, but let's see. OJ English is going to go down the inside now of turn 3. He wants to run out Apex, Scarlet wide, sorry, which he does not do, and Scarlet hangs it around the outside. She's had such good traction at turn 3, and she's once again done it, and she leads OJ English into turn 4, and she keeps position with a very dirty side pod, I do have to say. She's obviously been running onto the grass, so she's done something. But what is interesting is look at the gap here, under 1 second for Azzy. So she's gonna probably win it on, you know, in terms of time, because D7's got 6 seconds worth of penalties, but she wants to win it on track here, and this is gonna be what I'm going to be focusing on now. So 7 tenths. D7 has run out of batteries below 10%. And Azzy, let's have a little look at her battery. She's on about 25%. So this might be the change of the race here. If I was D7, I'd just let this go. We got 7 more, well, we got, yeah, 7 more laps remaining, including this lap. As WR Tristan picks up a 3-second time penalty. So there's so many penalties. The finishing order is not necessarily going to be the one that you are going to see on the left of your screen with the timing tower, whereas Azzy, she can't make a move this lap, but she's probably gonna make a move next lap. Let's hope so, at least. As OJ English 1/10 behind Scarlet, so maybe there was a little battle we missed there. Unfortunately, there's so many battles here. So we got Pixels, you know, he might get points here. Cameron, let's hope so. But the main focus really here is on Azzy, as she is now looking to reclaim the lead that she had on track. OJ English gets another 3-second penalty, so does Pixels. So many people have penalties. It's crazy, really. But Azzy, she's got DRS, she's got ERS. She's now going to try and take the lead here, back again in the Red Bull ring. She's going to go down the inside, and there was no real contest. She leads the Austrian Grand Prix in the Summer Series. D7, he's got DRS coming out of turn 3. However, it seems like the tyre advantage is too much, the pace advantage is too much. He is now down a position, as Scarlet is, them two are still battling hard there, and this is just costing them time, and this is really giving D7 what he needs if he wants to finish 2nd place. If he can follow Azzy, he can definitely, you know, keep this P2, and maybe, you know, if he pressurizes Azzy into a mistake, he could still, you know, a win's still on the cards. We saw a leader spin out, so you can never say never here in Formula Velocity. As OJ English is doing a really good race, I do have to say. They did a great race in the sprint race, and they did have a little bit of an uneasy start here, but as time's gone on, the hard tires really treated them very nicely this race, and they are putting in a great valiant effort to try and get a place on this podium. I'm not sure it's going to be good enough for the podium for the in terms of penalties, but certainly on track it's going to be good enough. They're going to go down the inside on Scarlet again, though. Is Scarlet going to get the better traction out of turn 3? She's going to get enormously greater traction, and she's going to cover off. And even though OJ English does have the DRS, and he's now going to go down the inside of Scarlet, and he seems to have sorted out the place there, but Scarlet, I'm sure, has got still quite a bit of battery left, and she can still fight this off. Yeah, and what did I say? That the gap is now 7 seconds between D7 and OJ English. This is really helping D Numbers, secure his spot in P2. So that's good for him in terms of the standings. Obviously, he's got that championship experience in Formula Velocity, so he's using that to his great advantage. As Apex, the Season 4 champion, gets past Blayappa, who is unfortunately left the session again. So maybe some internet issues playing up on his side. But remember, this battle isn't done, as Tristan's going to look to go around the outside turn one. That's an audacious move from the AlphaTauri driver, and it's worked on Apex. Obviously, saw Apex get all the way to the heights of 6th position, but unfortunately, got a little bit caught out with, I believe it was King, battling, and unfortunately he lost out. But obviously the main battle on this track, I'm gonna say, is this battle right here with the Alpine and the Williams. Scarlett has really been in the midst of most of these battles, really the first part of the race fighting D7, and now the second part of the race fighting English. And let's hope this doesn't end in tears, as English is right close here. But this is some great racing between the two blue cars, the Alpine and the Williams. He's still got King there in 5th position, picking up some good points for the championship leader. But I think it probably is going to be Azzy who will be leading the standing to come the end of this race here, as D7 is now out of the DRS of these Azzy. So it seems the win is secured for her, as English is now going to go down the inside of turn 1. So Scarlett now with a switchback, DRS, ERS all fully deployed. She's going to make it up into turn 3 into the lead, but I reckon English, they're going to stick back. Let's see if there's going to be any changes going into turn 4 in terms of position. There's only 2 more laps, so it's critical you stay within the DRS. However, it might be a good idea for English. He's only got 1% battery at the moment, so maybe if he saves a little bit, stays in the DRS, and they can go for a final lap assault on Scarlett. At least he won't get the position necessary in terms of time, but he will certainly get the position in terms of pride, really, I'd say, because this has been a great battle between the two drivers. As VNT Rosenquist, 107.1. Obviously, they've had a very quiet race, but fastest lap in the race. Let's go and deny Azzy of that point. I believe she had the fastest lap of the race beforehand. So that's unfortunate for her. I'm going to quickly pause and try. Can I invite Blayappa? I don't think I've got you, Blayappa, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that, because I'm on the new platform now. Right. Let's see. Penultimate lap of the race. Is there going to be any fighting here? I think OJ English might have been listening to my advice. They haven't really charged the ERS, but they're certainly just sticking back from Scarletty. So if you're watching this, I know what you're doing, OJ English. As Scarlett has pulled away a fair bit this lap, actually, so that's good from her. You got Blayappa, yeah, disconnected. That's quite unfortunate for him. Can't do anything, unfortunately, as Azzy on the medium tyres. She's going to start the final lap of this race, and it's been a scintillating drive from her, but we'll come back to her during the final corners, because I think the main battle is going to be really here for the last spot on the podium in terms of the running order as we cross the line. Obviously, Scarlett is, I think, OJ English has got 6 seconds of penalties. I'm not sure how the penalties are going to apply, but let's just leave it up for surprise. All right, OJ English, does he have enough ARS? He doesn't. He's got below 10%. I think he's going to be too far back, certainly heading into turn 3. Scarlett's going to have this one easily under the brakes. He brakes so late there, he makes an error, and I think that is his chances of a podium on track well and truly gone there. And he made obviously a mistake there. He nearly whacked into the back of Scarlett, and that is really unfortunate for the Williams driver. But someone who has made no mistake today is Azzy. She has controlled the race here today, and it's not been a lights to flag victory, but it might as well have been. And she's going to win the 2023 Summer Series Austrian Grand Prix Round 3, and I believe what will be the championship lead. Azzy comes across to the checker flag, and she wins the Austrian Grand Prix. D7 finishes on the podium. I believe it will be Scarlett who will come home in a well-deserved 3rd place. Then we have OJ English and King following up behind. King gets the 4th place. Then we got the Ferrari. Oh, we got Tristan. Then the Ferrari Psychos. Then we have Apex crossing the line. Blayappa getting 8th position. 4 points to him. Got Dorado getting 1 point there. So that's good for the Red Bull team. All he doesn't quite get it is Sam and Baker gets it. Pixels has gone for the fastest lap, it seems. And that is pretty much the race, I would say. So it's Azzy who's won ahead of D7. That was a great race. Not as much chaos as the first lap, but that's in some ways that's quite good, I'd say. We want a proper clean race, but that was a great win for Razzie, and that's thoroughly deserved as well. Credit to D7. He did a great safety car restart, and that really gave him P2. And we'll go through the final order again one more time. But yeah, that was your Summer Series race. Hopefully Uncle will be back on the comms because my throat cannot do this for a second time. But let's see the finishing result. As Azzy on the podium. Oh, I've skipped it. That's a bit unfortunate. Right. Azzy wins the 2023 Summer Series Austrian Grand Prix ahead of D7, Scarlett, King, OJ English, Tristan, Psychos, Blayappa, Apex, Harrison, finishing the point scoring positions, Sam and Baker, Eldorado, FV Pixels, VNT Rosenquist, Curly, Broughton, Finnell, and that is your positions. Obviously, don't forget to vote Driver of the Day and the app. If I was going to say Driver of the Day, I'd say for the sprint race, it was probably OJ English. They did a great job at the start, but probably for this race, I'd have to give it to Azzy personally. She did really well, but obviously a lot of people had some great drives out there, particularly all the podium sitters. So that has been the race. I hope everyone has enjoyed. I am now going to end the stream. So let me put my Pixels propaganda up and see ya